I did it. Welcome, your backup plan tribe. But that was a terrible producer, or is it a director that shifts the background to the next commercial? I'm not sure, but that wasn't a very good job today. I'm so sorry. But hey, that's because we're Canadians. We have to say sorry for everything. But hey, your backup plan tribe, welcome to your backup plan tribe's live show today. And boy, do we have a good discussion about mental health. Isn't it Mental Health Month this month? So if you guys are listening, if you're new here, my name is Tina Ginn. I am an emergency preparedness coach, a best-selling author of In the Blink of an Eye, a financial expert, and an app developer of Your Backup Plan app. And I'm located here in beautiful Vancouver, BC, with a beautiful sunny day today. So if you haven't liked, shared, or subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do, as well as follow us on our podcast. We're on, I think, 20-some platforms on our podcast. So grab one that you like to use and follow us on there, because we post every week real life stories about real life people. And believe me, they are real and raw conversations about all sorts of different things, all sorts of hiccups and storms that we've had to manage in life. And so why not check us out? And if you like, share, and subscribe down here in the corner, you can click on that subscribe button and like and share our stories with each and every friend, family, or foe, so that you can benefit from these conversations. Your Backup Plan app puts your life in one place. What does that mean? It takes everything that's all up in your head, that your partner, your wife, your spouse, your husband, your best friend, your sister, your brother doesn't even know. It might be what kind of cat food your dog eats, or cat eats, or fish eat, or who your vet is, or where the key is for your shed or your garage or your home, or where your stuff is. Imagine all the stuff right now that you have all up in your head that no one else knows about. And if you left today, who would know? Who would know where to find all that stuff? So it takes that painful aftermath out of that tragedy that's now in front of you. So it could be for you, it could be for a partner or a friend or family that can take that information, your medical information, and really know what to tell the doctors, what to tell your emergency staff, what to get into your house and look after your dog or cat while you're away in a coma, or during COVID, or in the hospital for something, or in recovery for all that matters. So really take a look at what we're all about, because it's these real life stories that really make you think about your own life and how you want to move on, how you want to live it, and how you want to be there for your friends and family. It seems to make a shift in you. It changes you forever. And before I introduce our wonderful guest today from Los Angeles, California, I just want to thank our German followers, because you guys are really kicking ass when it comes to our show. You know, our listeners are coming up. The third biggest group of culture that is listening to our show is German. So, meine deutsche Freunde sind in unserem Podcast willkommen. Wenn Sie Kommentare haben, können Sie gern Fragen stellen. So danke fürs Hören, meine deutsche Freunde. So thank you so much to my German listeners out there. And Ireland is also coming up in the ranks. So thank you, Ireland. I don't have an accent for you today for that one. I'm sorry, I'll have to practice that one. So thank you, everybody. Give this video a thumbs up if you'd like us to share some more of these wonderful stories for you guys to listen to. And it will also help YouTube's algorithm, so that it moves it up, so it shares it with more people. So thank you. So welcome to our show today. Our live show is being broadcast on our YouTube channel, and our podcast will be having it very soon. So today we have a very special mental health speaker. I'm going to bring him on and give him an introduction. So welcome, Tim Krass, to our show today.
Thank you, Tina. How are you?
Awesome. It's a beautiful day to talk to Tim today. And he has a little bit of a long introduction, but I'll just take a minute to do that. So wonderful, Tim here. He's an author of a cool book on mental health. You Don't Have to Swallow Your Gun. What a great title. He's a podcaster. He has his own podcast show. He is an upcoming TEDx Talk speaker. He is a public speaker, has done many public speaking events. He is an executive coach, and he is a veteran media and entertainment executive. As he mentioned to me earlier, he used to work for Fox Channel, and I'm so lucky to have him on our show today to talk about mental health and how it affects men particularly. I know that I titled this 3 Mysteries About Men, because I really think that Tim's going to give us some theories on that subject. So welcome, Tim. I'm so excited to have you on the show, and tell us all about your journey through where you've gotten to today.
Well, thank you, Tina. I'm excited that I'm on the show as well. Yeah, like I mentioned to you, your energy is just great. I love it.
Thank you.
It just picks me up. But I grew up in what I thought was a typical middle class household. My mother and father, my father was an executive in the rent-a-car business, and my mother was a tremendous preparer of food. And, she had a household that was, impeccable.
Tickety-boo, so to speak.
Tickety-boo, I love that. I wouldn't tell her, but anyway, I thought it was typical middle class. And, it wasn't until I left home and went to college that I looked back and did some self-discovery and found out that, when my parents were yelling at myself and my brother, and they were getting into arguments, and they were being emotional, and they were physically abusive as well, would hit us, that I was being abused. I didn't know that. I was conscious of the fact that I felt like I had to walk around the house on eggshells, because I didn't want my mother or my father to think that I was doing something wrong, so that I would be yelled at or screamed at or hit or have to go to my room, or whatever it was. But abuse was part of it. And when I went to college,
you got away from it. So
I got away from it, but the first thing my friends put in front of me was a whole bunch of marijuana. And that was like the first and best relationship I ever had in my life. I loved it. I couldn't put it down, because it made me free from all of these thoughts, all of this pain that I knew nothing, I wasn't even aware of. I didn't know that I had depression. I didn't know I had mental health issues, that I was full of fear, full of anxiety. I didn't know. And I went on a 41-year run of drugs and alcohol. And I was leading a double life, because I was this executive in media and entertainment for the top 5 media and entertainment companies in the country and in the world. And I was an executive vice president of distribution. And I was, before the day started and after the day ended, sometimes during lunch, I was going to get high, and I was playing a game with myself to challenge myself how high I could get, but still maintain in my
Your work.
meeting and my work.
I think I've seen that many times in many different people.
And it's sick. I mean, until I did an inventory and look back at my behavior, I didn't realize that how damaging my behavior was. It was very egotistical and very unprofessional. And I've since gone back to many people that I worked with and made amends with them and told them that that was not right. And because I wanted to have a clear relationship with them. And a lot of them said, we didn't even know. And that's
The sad part.
that is the sad part. I thought I was getting away with somebody and with something, but I really wasn't. I was hurting myself and those around me. And I just kept going for 41 years until finally, uh, the world caved in 2008, 2009. The economy took a real dip. I was raising money for a children's educational sports website. We thought we had enough money. Since with the economic turndown, we didn't get that money. Thus, I thought I could get a job, but the economy was so bad I couldn't get a job. So things spiraled down, and I was in a very difficult place. And somebody in my family suggested that I go to some 12-step meetings, which I did. And luckily, I ran into a gentleman I asked him to be my sponsor and to help me with the program and walk me through. And the guy wore a leather jacket and chains and drove a motorcycle, and he scared the living daylights out of me. And the first time I met him, he said, okay, pick me up and we'll go get coffee and talk about if you are a valuable use of my time.
A valuable candidate for
And I was like,
him.
whoa, like, I thought you were my sponsor. And he's like, oh, not yet. We got to talk this out. So for the next hour, he just chewed me up and down and said, look, if you're serious about this and you're willing to do whatever it takes to eradicate yourself from this usage of drugs and alcohol, then I'll be shoulder to shoulder with you and walk you through the whole program. But if you're not serious, he said, you can go to hell on your own. I'm not going back. And I'm telling you, he scared the living daylights out of me. And I had to go home. My first assignment, go home, throw away any little bottles of vodka, of any kind of alcohol, beer, any kind of marijuana, pipes, joints, paraphernalia, whatever. Put it in a black garbage bag and throw everything in the dumpster. No roaches, no little bottles of liquor, nothing. Well, I started crying. I started shivering. I didn't know how I was going to make it.
Well, it's the fear of the unknown, I guess, right? I've only learned all of this from the Mom Show, the Mom TV show.
Yeah.
That's where it all sounds very familiar to me.
Yeah. And that's one of the bits of research that I found, that these mental health issues start at a very young age because of the environment that the parents put the children in. And the results on teen suicide have been skyrocketing in the last 5 years. So to me, the long-term solution is to be proactive and get an educational curriculum for these teens about all these issues, so that they talk about these issues and it's not something that they run away from and hide underneath the bed and think that, well, one day it'll just go away, because it doesn't.
Well, and one of the ones you didn't talk about is notice the stats rising for 30 to 40-year-olds, middle class, higher average class people with well-paid jobs, drug overdoses.
Yep.
The numbers are skyrocketing.
Yeah. There's so much pressure to perform. And, you know, I learned that I had severe depressive disorder that's reoccurring.
Mm-hmm.
And my doctor told me that was the reason that my addictions were flaring up in a lot of different areas. And that was at the same time that I started going to 12-step meetings and got this sponsor who walked me through the program. And he literally saved my life, because I did have a butcher knife in my hand a couple times and was ready to take a slit at my wrist, because I couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
I felt shame. I felt defective. I was not making, money. I couldn't get a job. I thought I was worthless.
Mm-hmm. You're at the bottom of the
bottom of the barrel.
Mm-hmm.
But I listened to my sponsor. I went to 12-step meetings. I did all the work required. I did extra work. I learned how to be of service to others. So as soon as I got sober, which was 8.5 years ago now, I got the idea about writing a book
Mm-hmm.
and describing my situation so people don't have to go through what I went through. It was too painful. I couldn't sleep at night. I couldn't eat. I was afraid to talk to anybody. Whereas before, when I was in business, I was doing presentations in front of 5,000 people. But
you had a crutch.
Yeah.
At that time. So now you don't. So you're on your own. So you felt vacant, I guess, so to speak.
Totally. No self-esteem, no confidence. I felt very defective. And slowly, as I worked through this program, I did self-discovery on myself and found out all these behaviors, a trend of behaviors were starting to be self-evident to me, that I needed to cut out of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when things started to turn for the better. Sometimes it takes 6 months or a year just to get on like equal ground. They say after 5 years, finally, you get to a place where, you're getting close to where you used to be.
That you can say you feel normal.
Yeah, whatever normal is. But that first year was extremely difficult for my health, for everything that was going on. And right before I got sober, I was rushed to the hospital at 3 a.m. because my head felt like it was in an incinerator. It was on fire. And I had to call 911, and they did some tests, and they took me into the hospital and said I had a heart attack, and they put a stent in one of my blocked arteries. And 3 hours later, I'm woken up by my primary care physician, and he's all smiles. And I said, "What's so funny?" He said, "I'm so proud of you because you got here so quickly. They put a stent in your artery, and you have zero heart damage because you took care of it so quickly." And that's one of the themes of what I talk about today, is asking for help, and how important it is to ask for help as soon as you think you feel something. Most men don't even know they have depression. They don't know that they have stress or anxiety. They just think that's part of the deal.
Mm-hmm.
They have a mental health condition that can be managed, and you can live a normal life where you can have happy and healthy relationships. You don't need the alcohol. You don't need the drugs. You don't need the pills. You don't need to fight with your wife. You don't need to, beat up on your children or beat up on your friends or beat up on your friend's wife or go get a gun or get some heroin or, attempt suicide. And now, how many stories do we hear about these mass shootings and children and adults' lives are taken needlessly? And what do we hear at the end of the report in the news? Oh, by the way, this person in his file had a record of having mental health issues.
How many times have we heard that?
At least 90% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why I do what I do. People don't like to talk about mental health. It's taboo. Nobody wants to talk about it. They think it'll go away on its own. I won't let anybody know about it.
Well, and we talk a lot about grief on the show as well, and that's part of the mental health issue, and it's affecting us more and more every day with COVID and with everything else. So yeah, it's even highlighted.
Yeah, PTSD, post-traumatic depression syndrome, and people from war have it. People from growing up have it. People from going through a relationship and a divorce. People having to move. People having to change in their economic situation.
Mm-hmm.
There's all kinds of weight loss, weight gain. There's all kinds of issues that come up.
Abusive relationships.
Yes. And you can abuse yourself because your mental health issues are not getting researched and checked. It took my doctor 4 months of meeting with me face to face, him asking me questions for an hour at a time to understand where I was, what was going on, so that he could properly diagnose me and then from there prescribe a remedy that was going to work to make me healthy. And thank God I ran into this guy, because I had seen 3 or 4 or 5 doctors before that just said, oh, you have low-level depression. Well, this guy said, no, you don't have low-level depression. You have severe depressive disorder that is reoccurring. And he said, to be honest with you, not a lot of people get to the other side. A lot of people commit suicide. And he said, frankly, I'm worried about you.
Wow, it took that many times to get to that point.
Yeah. So combined with my doctor's help and with my sobriety, which he said my severe depressive disorder was causing my addictions to drugs and alcohol, that finally I cleaned everything up and I decided I got to write this book. And it took 3 years for me to finish this book, but I saw the issues of mental health and unchecked mental health issues like depression and stress and anxiety, things that people live with every day, and they don't think, number one, that it's a problem. Or there's a lot of guys who are hung up on, if they ask for help, they'll be pigeonholed as a feminized man, not a real man, a weak guy, because they grew up with everyone saying, hey, don't cry, toughen up, pull yourself up by your bootstraps and be a man.
Yeah. How many times in sports have you even heard that?
Exactly.
Pull up your big boy pants and get out there and hit the stupid ball.
And what's going on right now in sports? You're seeing players in the NBA, basketball, in football, in college sports. You're seeing all these people coming out. There's a baseball player that 2 years ago took a gun to his head. He pulled the trigger, but he was still alive as blood comes gushing out. And he had to make a split decision whether he was going to pull that trigger again and kill himself, or he was going to get help. And he decided he wanted to live. And today the guy is healthy. He plays in minor league baseball. He's trying to get back to the major leagues. And he's come out and talked about his mental health issues. Kevin Love, who plays professional basketball for the Cleveland Cavaliers. DeMar DeRozan, who plays NBA basketball for the San Antonio Spurs. Brandon Marshall played NFL football, the New York Jets and the Chicago Bears. He has come out. There are more and more men coming out saying, wow, I have mental health issues and I need to get help with them.
Mm-hmm.
And when they do that, other guys come to them and say, really? I thought it was just me that felt this way. But now you have told me that you do. So how do I get help? And this is the beauty of your mental health issues, is that they can be managed and you can have happy and healthy relationships if you get help.
Mm-hmm.
It actually takes more courage to ask for help than to hide behind the curtains and hide underneath your bed and think, I can't tell anybody. I can't trust that anybody's going to perceive me as a masculine man. And especially can't tell women because I'll never get a date with them. Whereas I say, look, healthy integrated masculinity is what every man needs to practice. Men need to be vulnerable. They need to create a safe space, a safe environment for a woman, whether it's their partner at home, whether it's the people at work. A man needs to create this safe environment for a woman to be exactly who she is and not be threatened by that or intimidated. Man thinks he's got to fix all of a woman's problems. How can he fix a woman's problem? He's a man. I can't fix your problems. I'm a man. I don't know what a woman goes through. Men have to go talk to men. Women already talk to women and they get a lot of help. Women are more emotive than men. Men have to ask for help. There are men's meetings, men's clubs, men's tribes. These are all about men trusting men and helping them to get to their truth so that they can see the path they need to get on in order to get healthy. And they need to get off the alcohol or drugs or yelling and screaming or violence or domestic violence or whoever they're beating up or whoever they're killing, whether it's themselves or others.
Mm-hmm.
But
slowly.
But if you're an addict or an alcoholic, it's not just you having the problem. You start affecting everybody in your family and everybody in your life.
Everybody you work with. And
yes. And it's problematic. And we don't have to go through this. It's a human thing. It's okay. We're humans. We make mistakes. Forgiveness and love is a big part of life. You know, my fiance and I, we get into arguments, but we have a commitment to each other that before the night is over, we're going to resolve it. And thus, once we do, personally, I get the perspective like I'm looking down at it from 15 feet and seeing my behavior. And most of the time, I've been projecting work problems or other issues that I'm dealing with. And I project it on my fiance and give her a hard time. And she gets upset.
mm-hmm.
And finally, after we resolve the conflict, I can see why I'm doing this. And I go to her and say, honey, I'm sorry. I was upset about what happened at my job today. And I was self-absorbing it.
Mhm.
And when I thought you were wronging me, a switch went on and I went off on you. And that was not right. And I have to, number one, I need to,
Check myself.
I have to check myself. I have to get help with that. I need your forgiveness. I want to make an amends. I don't want to have this issue continue to, ruminate between us. And I make a commitment that I will get the help I need, whether it's talking to other men, whether it's talking to my doctor, or having a better relationship with God, to ask for guidance so that I don't do that again.
Mhm.
But, we're all humans, okay? I just can't turn things on and off regarding my behavior, but I can get help. And when I get
So
help,
in your other world, you would have just got out the marijuana or the drinks and just kind of washed it away. And then sometimes I found around certain people that drank a lot, you would find them switch personalities. And people would always, I'd be in my 40s and my 50s, and I'd go to a get together of some sort, and people would say, do you want a drink? Like, they'd be pushing these drinks on me.
right.
Not that I'm ever been an alcoholic. I've never really enjoyed drinking, but I'd have one drink perhaps, or that's about it. And people would ask me, it was like a strange kind of philosophy that if you didn't drink, you're not normal. And so I thought, wow, this is so strange. Here I am in my 40s and 50s, and people are still pushing drinks on you like you're in college. And I just don't understand that concept, because I always said to them, I'm fun. I don't need to have a drink to have fun. I'm fun without the drink. So,
Some people can do that. Some people can smoke one joint and they're fine. If I see a bag of marijuana, we're sitting there until it's all gone. That's just the way I'm put together.
yeah.
But we're all different. And there are some people who, like you said, they look at you having one drink and then walking away and going home. They say, "Are you kidding me?" They have to drink until they black out, until they pass out, until they've broken dishes, they've broken glasses, they've broken relationships, they've made a mess. God forbid they get in the car and have a car accident.
Yeah.
Look at Tiger Woods. Look at a lot of people. A lot of people end up killing other people, God forbid, because they are drunk or on drugs and they smash into other people.
Yeah.
And they don't realize that they have a mental health issue that they need help with, and that there are doctors and people out there that can help them manage their mental health issue so that you can have a happy and healthy relationship with yourself and others.
Yeah. I think this is such a good topic right now for mental health. It's coming out more and more, and my nose is itchy. So that means it's important. So, yeah, because Prince Harry and Meghan even came out of, like, I talk about coming out like they came out of the closet or something, but it feels like that, right? Because you're trapped, like you feel trapped with no one that hears you, no one can understand you, no one's there to support you. What do? You feel like you're literally trapped and bound, right? That's how I picture it.
Look, it's the rare person today that does not feel anxiety and stress from the world we live in. It's a crazy world out there, crazier than I've ever seen. But having stress and having that show up in my drinks or my food or my exercise or how I communicate with others, my
Mm-hmm.
relationship with my wife or girlfriend, my relationship with other women in the workplace or other men in the workplace, where the good old boy network, this toxic masculinity is ongoing, and they're having competitive male games to see who can be the most masculine when it's really sick masculinity. And I can, damage others and talk down to others. And, women get talked over. They're not permitted to say what they really want to say for fear that someone will point a finger, someone will write them up. They might get thrown out of their job.
Yeah.
Some women, they don't know if they can go to HR because they don't know the guy who's running the place. if he's toxic when it comes to masculinity, and he's not integrated his masculinity and femininity, and he sees this woman come in sobbing and crying that the place of work is unfair to her, he's like, see you later. We don't need you. Goodbye.
Yeah,
And
because the HR stands up for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what does he do? He hires his buddy in sales to be the sales manager, not because the guy's qualified, but because the president knows that he can trust his buddy, and whatever he'd tell him to do, he'll do. Meanwhile, the sales manager doesn't have the set of skills that are proper for that position. He's got a team that is mixed gender, mixed race. He is not healthy in looking at mixed gender and mixed race. Thus, 20 to 30% of the people are much less productive than what the company needs.
Yeah.
And 20 to 30% of the productivity turns into 20 or 30% of the revenue. And then it becomes part of the profitability that goes down. And that's the bottom line. People are in business to make money, to have a service that others can use. But if they don't have feel this social responsibility of business, then these are the companies that make items that are dangerous to people, like the company that has a disinfectant spray to kill weeds in the grass, only to find out that if you've been using that, the germs in there are killing you.
Mm-hmm.
And the company knows this, but they don't care because they want to make money. All the drugs that these drug companies push, big pharma, they push out, insurance companies, sometimes they won't back you up because it's not in their best financial interest.
No, mental health is definitely not on a disability type of list for the majority of disability policies, that's for sure. And it definitely should be, but it's not.
Yeah, I mean, there are politicians and business people that want to see these people with mental health issues locked up instead of providing help and support. And that's sad today because people do need help with COVID-19, with the eradication of our economy,
The isolation.
Businesses have gone out of business. People are struggling left and right. Their children are struggling left and right. Everybody is affected by this. Everybody needs support and help, people to go to that can help them manage these situations, some of which some men and women don't even know that they are living an unhealthy life when it comes to mental health. Sometimes people with bad physical health don't even go to their doctors because they're afraid. They don't want to hear what they have to go through. They don't want to have to think they have to go to a hospital and have surgery. They don't want to do that. They don't want to take the drugs afterwards, the pain medication, because it'll make them drink and they could get hooked on those opioids. that is becoming a serious, serious problem in this country because they're much cheaper than heroin, and they're pretty much having the same effect on people. And unfortunately, people in surrounding countries are lacing these opioids and these pills with fentanyl.
Yes.
And that's deadly.
Yes.
That's deadly. So many people I know, they've gone to Mexico, they go to the bar, ask for a drink. The next day they're dead. They're found dead in their room because the drink was laced with fentanyl.
Wow. It's not even just in your
No,
quick marijuana or heroin or cocaine hit.
no. And they want to, if they keep the person alive, then they want ransom money from their family. And they may come back to America. They may not come back to America. You don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And, this is a scary situation. There are some parts of the world I will not go into because of that, because I'm a target.
Yeah.
I'm a target for these people. And, when in doubt, go see a doctor. All you have to do is go to your primary care therapist, primary care physician, and tell them what's going on. If you're going to a primary care physician, you're probably trusting that person.
Although it's hard to open up and say your dirty secrets out to somebody.
Well, this is my point. I mean, look, more women than men do. They're emotive. They talk about this. They talk among their friends, and they decide, hey, I got to go get help and tell my doctor. You tell your primary care physician, and it's in his license these days that they have to ask about some mental health issues. And if they find something, then they have to report it, and it's their obligation to refer you to a professional who can help you.
Mm-hmm.
And people have to be trusting in the process and trusting of their doctors. And I'm here to tell you, you might have to see 3 or 4 or 5 different doctors until you finally feel, okay, this is the guy. I can trust him. He's knowledgeable. He knows what he's doing. He's not going to screw me up.
Mm-hmm.
Other doctors are like, here, take this prescription for this medicine. I got this deal with this, sales guy from this pharmaceutical company. This will take care of you. Well, the guy's just in it for money. He doesn't care about your health. He just wants to go home and take out his Porsche and take it for a spin around the block so he can let everybody in his neighborhood know that he's hip, slick, and cool. That's bull. People have to care about each other. Love thy neighbor. Love thy neighbor. We've heard that since day one. The golden rule: treat others as you want to be treated. Such a simple thing.
You would think.
Would we see all these wars and bombings and mass shootings if everybody practiced love thy neighbor or the golden rule? No.
Do you think that was your pivoting moment then, when you actually had to step up to the that guy that was wearing all the motorcycle stuff? Or do you think it came before that? Do you think it was something that you woke up to? Or
look, my life was going nowhere. I was using drugs and alcohol morning, noon, and night. I realized I needed help. My family told me that. Until I met my sponsor, I was not committed 100% to going to do whatever I had to do in order to lead a sober life from drugs and alcohol.
mm-hmm.
But he showed me the way
it can be done.
That it can be done, and that your life can improve, And we just talked about it today in a meeting. It's a way of life. It's a way of life. It's a path. My ladder was not, I didn't put it up against the right wall. It was up against this egotistical, ultra masculine macho wall where I was after money, cars, women, great restaurants, travel all over the world just to talk about it.
Drugs and alcohol.
That's not what life's about. Life's about, like, the relationship you and I are having, talking about important things that matter to people, that may affect their health, that may affect their well-being, that, where love and care and forgiveness are part of that relationship, where we can come together and make things better.
Absolutely.
And if you're not on that path, which I was not, I just encourage everybody, take a look around. Instead of seeing these people going up to other people of other races and beating them up and letting them sit there in their blood, which is disgusting to me.
No, because you wouldn't even do that to an animal.
Right. Well,
some people do, which is horrible too.
Therein, you can tie that to another one of my fiance's issues, is she's a vegan. Why is she a vegan? Not only does it help her health, her number one thing is the mistreatment of animals. And she doesn't want to hurt any animals. And I got to tell you, I've had dogs. And when they're not healthy and they're not happy and I've had to put them down, I'm a wreck.
Me too.
I am a wreck. It's like family. Mm-hmm. And animals are, God created animals for a reason. Some have told me that birds are messengers that God has put in the world for. And I believe it. I believe it. And we, unfortunately, our past administration in this government of ours was very unhealthy and pitted one against each other. Mm-hmm. And we were hurting people, and it's still going on, and it has to stop.
That's for sure.
Because we're going to have a civil war. Everybody's going to be dead in the streets or drunk in the streets or drugged in the streets, and nobody's going to be able to get anything done.
Yeah.
And this is just not a small issue. I mean, I wrote when I was 10 years old, I wrote an essay that life is experience. And we have to learn from all of our experiences. There's a silver lining in everything we do. One of my sayings is, mistakes are the seeds of greatness. Heck, some people, you make a mistake, they go crying, running into bed, pull the covers over themselves for 2 days, and they haven't even eaten anything. I'm like, oh, I made a mistake? Great. What is there in that silver lining? What can I take out of that mistake and learn from that issue and apply to my life and make my life better and help somebody else so they don't have to go through the same garbage that I went through?
Right.
Because
I always look at it like going up to bat, baseball, softball, whatever you think, and you have a 500 score hitting. Well, that's only half when you think about it. So we all make mistakes, and it's taken in consideration when you go up to hit. That's a 50 out of 50 chance of hitting the ball, which is really high batting average when you think about it. Yeah. But in the scope of life, you have to look at it and say, hey, I'm not doing so bad after all if you're at 400 or 500% batting score. So I guess if you look at it in a sports mentality,
Yeah, I have a master's degree in sports management. And if you hit 300 or 250, 25 or 30% success, you're considered very good.
Hmm.
So here in life, like you said, if we're 40 or 50% successful, we are
You're
beyond our
doing,
wildest dreams
yeah,
successful.
you're doing awesome.
And it's only life, that our perceptions, our minds start creating this anxiety and stress that we made a mistake and somebody's going to get mad at me. My boyfriend, my girlfriend, my mother, my father,
My boss.
my boss. Everybody's going to think that I am an absolute idiot when, trust me, other people are busy thinking about themselves. They're not thinking about you. They got enough on their plate. We all do. So
Get
that's
over it.
that's one of the silver linings of me doing this work, working with other men, coaching executives on their sales teams, um, to realize that um, that it's okay. They're human, and to make mistakes is okay. And it's actually, we're here to make these corrections in our lifetime,
Yeah.
to elevate spiritually. And look at Gandhi. Okay, Gandhi lived on a very high level of spiritual energy in life.
Hmm.
He affected millions and millions of people in the idea of peace, as did Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
And so a lot of things have gotten better because of these people, because they have risen to a high position of helping others. And what happens to these people, like the guy Bernie Madoff, who took money from everybody? He just passed away. He'd been in jail for 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
This is what happens. This is what happens when people yell and scream and are angry. They get cancer. They get a heart condition.
They're unhappy.
They're unhappy. They
Mhm.
make others around them very unhappy.
Yeah.
And they point the finger at the other person and say, it's your fault. And we're always told, hey, when you're pointing a finger, you got 3 fingers pointing back at yourself. So before you point the finger, take a little inspection of
Of
yourself.
of
And
you.
right. And see how you're doing before you criticize somebody else. God,
It's an incredible topic, just to interject, because I find that it doesn't matter if you're homeless, and it doesn't matter if you're on the top of the mountain in celebrity world. It affects everybody. It's
yeah,
affected Robin Williams.
yeah.
I mean, we could go on. Demi Lovato, Michael Jackson, Justin Bieber. I mean, how many can we list?
It's endless. And we're just talking about the people who are honest and come out and talk about it.
Yeah.
Just think of how many hundreds of thousands of millions of people who won't admit it and don't have the courage to ask for help because they're afraid somebody else is going to look at them funny,
Judge them.
judge them, or they're going to miss a promotion, or they're going to lose money, or lose somebody's friendship.
Or a relationship.
Since I've done this work, I have gotten closer every day to my authentic self. So what I know what I'm saying is true for me, and
Mhm.
I know it can help others. Thus, I don't care what others think. It doesn't matter. People say to me, how can you be so vulnerable and share your story of being beaten up
Yeah.
and abused. And I said, look, I didn't even know I was abused until I saw what my behavior was getting into. And if I can help one person, and I know I can help more than one person, if I can help one person, that's
To help one person.
That's a big thing in life. And that's why I want to get my message out through speaking and podcasts and books and coaching. Anybody who will listen, I want to scream it out. Understand your role in life if you're a man. Understand what healthy masculinity is. Integrate your feminine and your masculine. Make that safe space for a woman to be who she is. I love my fiance. She's brilliant. She's brilliant. And I'm not even talking about physically, which she's off the charts, but she's brilliant. She has intuition. She knows stuff about me that I don't even realize sometimes. And I'm grateful for her because she can see through my garbage. And that's why I'm vulnerable, and I open up to her and I tell her I love her so much, because I tell her I can't do life without you. You've brought a whole different dimension to me in my life.
You're at a different level.
Yeah. Yeah.
So people have choices.
Definitely.
They have decisions to make, whether they want to jump on and jump off that cliff or not and get help for themselves, because they don't realize what a wonderful world it really is on the other side of that cliff.
God wants us to enjoy life. Why shouldn't we?
Yeah. I talk about, and sometimes in my podcasts, I just want to help people to realize that they can make a difference in themselves. And by just taking that jump, I picture it like a black room. I talk about this a lot, a dark black room where you don't see any light in it. And so it makes you think you could take that other drink. It makes you think you can have another smoke. You can have some cocaine or heroin or whatever it is that you're into, because it's going to make that room feel and look better, but it doesn't. And so when you are thinking without all of that other stuff around you, to find the light in that room, to find that door with the handle that you can turn and open up that light into the room, just a crack so you can see that you can open it further, and that there is some movement of choice and decision, and that it's so beautiful on the other side. Like, who wouldn't take that jump? Who wouldn't see the meadow or the beach or whatever that looks like when you open up that door? But it's when you're stuck in that room, you just can't visualize the beauty that's beyond making those choices. And that's how I picture it.
Yeah, the light will always extinguish the dark. And imagine if we're all coming from this place of light. We won't have so much darkness.
Yeah.
And there's too much darkness in the world today, and it's gotta change.
Yeah.
It's gotta change.
Absolutely. Did you have any final messages for the listeners?
I just want people to check out not only your podcast, The Backup Plan, but also mine, Time Out for Mental Health, available wherever you get your podcasts. And to realize that it's easier than you think to ask for help. And there's no shame in it. In fact, it takes more courage. And I encourage everybody, take the steps you need to get the help you need, so that you can be that beacon of light in our world, and we can extinguish all the darkness that we have to live with. It doesn't have to be that way. We can change things.
Yeah, I always like to think that it doesn't actually, you think you need a whole, I was going to say a whole lot of balls, but you don't need a whole lot of them. You just need balls to actually take that jump and push forward and do it for yourself.
Right. Right.
I guess, but didn't really quite come out the way I wanted it to. But
Well, it's easy for you to say, Tina.
grab them for wherever. Just do it.
We better end there before the FCC talks to us.
Oh, thank you so much, Tim, for coming on today. There's so many different messages, and we could talk about this. I'll definitely have you on the show again. I think
Please.
it really needs to be spoken about. And do you have your book handy to show anybody? Is it beside you?
No, I don't have it. We're still shopping around the publishers. So.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, it's coming, everyone. It's coming. And
It
it's
is.
called You Don't Have to Swallow Your Gun.
Yep.
So there you go. You don't have to do that. You can actually put that gun down and swallow your ego and and forgive yourself and move on.
Yep. Yeah, and I'm available for speaking engagements and coaching, personally or in business. And I have a website, timkrass.com, TIMKRAS as in Sam, S as in Sam.com, timkrass.com.
And it's all down below in the links, everybody.
Perfect. And I'll take anybody's call 24/7, 365. I'm here to help others.
Awesome. Theo Fleury was on our podcast in February, and wow, what a lot of mental health stuff he's really delved into right now.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a big world out there that we're trying to save everybody from. It takes over our life without us even knowing it while it does it. So I'm here for you. I'm here speaking about it, Talking Taboo, which we have our show called because it's all taboo subjects. Thank you, Tim, so very much for coming on today.
Thank you, Tina, for having me. I really appreciate it. And it was great meeting you.
Oh, you too. I always say I'm meeting people from all over the world, but making new friends from everywhere. I'm sure I could go around all of the United States and England by now, just going to people's houses. And Australia. It's awesome. It's awesome. The people you meet for life, I swear. It's tied us all into a tribe of some sort of helping other people.
That's right.
So thank you so much.
My pleasure. It's my honor.
So thank you, everybody. Thank you for listening to another fantastic podcast, Talking Taboo with Tina. It's your backup plan app. We prepare for the unexpected, and we can't help those people that are tied up in alcohol, drug addictions to be prepared in any shape or form because they are not in the space to get a will, to look after their paperwork, to look after anything really. They're unavailable. They're vacant. So everybody, it takes that storm that we have to manage sometimes, like Tim's talked about, where it gets to a certain point and you say, okay, I've got to figure this out. And we can move on and get better prepared for the unexpected, because it's definitely, as Tim found out with a heart attack, it's not the only storm that he had to manage. and this is not going to be the only one. Unfortunately, we all have different storms that come. We just don't know when, but we know they are going to happen. So why not be better prepared for the unexpected? Because we don't know what that's going to look like. So thank you. Nobody's Superman. Nobody's getting out of this alive. So let's get our act together and get better prepared. So I always end with Carol Burnett. And I know, just know Tim knows who Carol Burnett is.
Sure.
And she was an awesome comedian and still is, and beautiful. And she makes my heart sing. So I always end with Carol Burnett because She meant a lot to me and meant a lot to, I think, everybody, really. We all know who she is. Even the young people know this song. I don't sing it, so you don't have to be scared. I don't have to worry about singing. So I'm so glad we had this time together just to have a laugh or sing a song. Seems we just get started, and before you know it, comes the time we have to say, so long. So long, everybody. Stay safe, be happy, and hopefully we've made somebody think, or if you can share this with someone that you feel that it can make an impact with, please do. That's what we're here. Tim's here for that. I'm here for that. So thank you for listening, and thank you for sharing. Bye for now.
Oh, so awesome, Tina.
Oh, you're welcome.